welcome everybody. We shouldn't be here, but sure do love you guys. Sure do love you, Max, and the privilege of raising our children together in this wonderful community of Nashville and Hillsborough Village and Aiken School and on is not a waste. So. Say good night, moon. Oh, good night, stars. Good night, old broke down cars. I'm gone away, leaving soon. Good night, darling. Good night, moon. I don't know where I'll be. I don't know if I'll see out the window of my room, shining down. Good night, moon. Thank you, babe, I'm gonna miss you when the night comes round. That's when I long to kiss you with the moon shining on the ground. Thank you, baby, I'm gonna miss you when the night comes round. That's when I long to kiss you with the moon shining on the ground. Say good night, moon. Oh, good night, stars. Good night, old broke down cars. I'm gone away, leaving soon. Good night, darling. Good night, moon. Good night, darling. Good night, moon.
Good morning. I'm listed on the program as Judge Richard Dinkins, but I'm here as Coach Richard Dinkins. And I've found that one of the best ways to begin something like this is to begin by taking a corporate deep breath. So let us inhale and exhale slowly. Now, I didn't hear any inhaling or exhaling, so let's do it right this time. This is the coach talking. Let us inhale very deeply and exhale slowly. Now, don't you feel better? We are here to celebrate the life of Max H. No period, Berry. And we are here as friends of Max and friends of Megan and Bruce. We are comforted in the knowledge that the joys of one are the joys of all, and the sorrows of one are the sorrows of all. So we come here in our friendship to share in the joy that Max is, was, and will always be, and share in the sorrow of losing him for the while that we will not be in his presence. I want to remember or to pass on some memories of Max. I had the pleasure, honor, the charge, if you will, amongst the parents of our kids to be the coach of Little League basketball and Little League baseball. And Max fell under my coaching expertise in both of those capacities. Max was not the most coordinated person around, even as a child, as most of them were not. But Max had a special gift of lack of coordination. And we tried, but Max always enjoyed playing whatever it was. He smiled through practice. He smiled through games. He smiled when he messed up. He smiled when he hit the winning shot. I remember in one baseball game, and I'm sorry, Bruce, I have to mention this. He hit what had to be a Little League tape measure home run. I mean, it was the farthest Little League home run I've ever seen hit, and you don't see many home runs in Little League. But Max just hit it, and he ran around the bases, and he just crossed the plate and says, all right, what's next, what's next? And he never hit any home runs again, but that was his shining star, his shining moment. And he milked it for all it was worth. And in basketball, oh my gosh, you know, Bruce, I have to let this one out too. Bruce harbored the deep wish within his spirit that Max would somehow be the second coming of Willis Reed, who was a center for the New York Knicks. And so I tried. My project for the season was to teach Max the Willis Reed hook shot. You know, and I tried to break it down, make it real simple. 2 steps and hook. 2 steps and hook. And Max, boy, he would try, but he couldn't get the 2 steps and hook. He would get a step, hook, step. No, that's not it. Hook, step, step. No, that's not it. Step, 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 hook, step. That's not it. But he tried. And what he did do was what he did best. play defense because he was so tall. I said, Max, all you gotta do is hold up your hands, and you'll block the shots. And Tom Dodson will be out in a little while, and Tom was the other center, and so we had the original. People think that the Houston Rockets had the twin trees or twin towers, whatever they call them. We had the original twin towers, Max Berry and Tom Dodson. But one thing I know that Max had love in his life. Growing up, Megan and Bruce would open up their house each year for a holiday party, and the children were always there. And during that period when they believed in Santa Claus would be there, and they would exchange gifts, and the parents would be engaging in another form of celebration of the holidays. And but there was always love there, and Max showed love throughout his life. He loved his family, he loved his parents, loved his friends, he loved life, and sort of reminded me, or honestly, my son reminded me yesterday that there's a song about love that kind of encapsulates Max, and it's by Bob Marley, and it says, "Love the life you live and live the life you love." And Max loved his life, and he lived the life he loved. And so to his friends, the kids that, and I still call you kids, that grew up with Max, carry a bit of Max. You will always have a little bit of Max in your heart. And just remember him for the fun-loving kid that he was, for the tie-dye T-shirts, for the Grateful Dead T-shirt. Now, I wonder where he got those from. And to Megan and Bruce, the couple life lessons I've learned is, number one, God cannot bless you any more than giving you a child. And there is no harder job than raising a child. We do the best we can. We do the best we can. We give them the love that is in our heart. We give them the opportunities that we are able to give them. We give them the grace and the blessing that is given to us. And all we can do is the best that we can, and know that you did the best that you can, and have that peace in this difficult circumstance. And to the rest of us, we need to show the love. And I know that this is being recorded and live streamed and all of that other technological stuff that I don't understand. But to those who are in the sound of my voice but not hearing me, or not seeing me, please let us lift up the love that we have in our hearts for this family, for this community. Anytime this community loses a child, it is a loss. And we need to share love with the other family. And in the days and months and years ahead, let us share that love, and more importantly, show that love in how we treat them and how we treat each other. Max would want it that way. Megan and Bruce, you know I love you. Amen.
For those of you who don't know me, my name's Tommy Prine. Never have I been at such a loss for words, nor have I experienced a pain like this. A pain that has a massive initial impact and a bruising that will last a lifetime. This sort of pain can only be derived from one thing, which would be the loss of a family member. I know that Max and I weren't related by blood, but it would be impossible to convince me that we didn't share an understanding, a common love of life, and a bond that is only matched by blood. I remember when I first met Max, and I was immediately compelled to befriend him. Yes, I've always been an outgoing kind of person, but there was something about Max that was so welcoming. He had a warmth about him that no one else I knew had, and we'd hardly spoken at this point. From that first conversation on, Max became my brother. I have a lifetime of memories with him, and I can never thank him, Megan, or Bruce enough for a chance to have those memories. Along the way, while those memories were being forged, I got to see the type of person that he was. I got to see the things that made him think, question, laugh, cry, angry, elated, and at peace. One thing that always stuck with me about Max was his adoration of the outdoors, especially the mountains. Now that I reflect on this, it makes a lot of sense why he was so enamored with the beauty of the world and the mountains. He himself had a heart the size of a mountain. A free spirit, much like the animals that roam this world. The stubbornness of a long winter, and a smile like the sunshine breaking through a stormy cloud. Only a person with a force of a character like Max can leave this big of a hole in my heart, in everyone's heart. The world has lost a lot of opportunities, a great man, and a genuine soul. All his friends have lost a brother, and I've lost a part of myself. All this being said, I wish I could have had it a different way, but this is just how it is. Whatever I've lost from losing Max, I will gain back with him by my side. Although in the physical plane, I may no longer have my brother next to me, but I've gained one of the most special things that I will have as long as I breathe. I've gained a guardian. And I know that he'll be watching over me. Megan, Bruce, thank you so much for being the incredible people and parents that you are. If it weren't for you two, I don't know how this world would be. All I do know is, just because we can't talk to him does not mean he's gone. We can proudly walk through the light and the dark knowing that he's by our side. Max, can't wait to see you again, buddy. And when I do, I'll make sure and I'll bring a fan so that I'll put it on high and you can rest a little bit easier. I love you, buddy.
Hi, I'm Naomi. A reading from Walt Whitman, Song of the Open Road. From this hour I ordain myself, loosed of limits and imaginary lines. going where I list, my own master, total and absolute, listening to others, considering well what they say, pausing, searching, receiving, contemplating, gently but with undeniable will, divesting myself of the holds that would hold me. I inhale great draughts of space. The east and the west are mine, and the north and the south are mine. I am larger, better than I thought. I did not know I held so much goodness. All seems beautiful to me. I can repeat over to men and women, you have done such good to me, I would do the same to you. I will recruit myself and you as I go. I will scatter myself among men and women as I go. I will toss a new gladness and roughness among them. Whoever denies men, it shall not trouble me. Whoever accepts me, he or she shall be blessed and shall bless me. Now, if 1,000 perfect men were to appear, it would not amaze me. Now, if 1,000 beautiful forms of women appeared, it would not astonish me. Now I see the secret of the making of the best persons. It is to grow in the open air and to eat and sleep with the earth. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dean Masulo. I am an English teacher at the University School of Nashville, and from 2010 to 2013, I served as Max's advisor and his teacher. I'm honored to be here today. Of all of the laudable things that I could say about Megan and Bruce, this one is uncontestably true. When it came to naming their one and only child, they got it exactly right. Max. Not Maxwell, not Maximilian, simply Max. As Megan and Bruce were raising their son, my wife and I were also raising an only child, also named Max. Not Maxwell, not Maximilian, simply Max. In fact, the two boys also shared a middle initial, H. And for the 3 years that I was his teacher and his advisor at University School, Megan and Bruce's son was known in my house as my other Max. I cared for him that deeply. I loved him that much. I stood by him to guide him as if he were my own. As befits his name, my other Max was big in all the ways that count. He had an expansive personality. Whenever Max walked into the room, you knew it. If we're being honest, he wanted you to know it. And if we're being really honest, there was never a time when you did not want him there, even if you, like me, had other things to do. He had a boundless sense of humor that, in the course of a single encounter, could run the gamut from crude to subtle with 1,000 stops in between. He had a gift for humoring you without being condescending, for messing with you without being mean. He used levity and wit as tools that could grease the wheels of social situations, get him out of trouble, or get him whatever it was that he might want at the time. He had a big heart, loving his friends and his family and the various tribes of which he was a part, with fierce tenacity and the pride that comes with belonging and ownership. He had a mind, to quote Emily Dickinson, that was wider than the sky. He was curious about the world around him, and he was not afraid to learn about it on his own terms. He could be opinionated, but those opinions were always reasonable and open to rethinking and revision. He loved to share with others what he knew and to deepen his understanding of the things that were important to him. He was a capable enough student under conventional circumstances, but his best teacher was experience, whose lessons were administered to him in a classroom called Anywhere. He was physically big, tall, yes, but also broad in the best possible way. He had this manner of hugging, arms open upon approach, as if that hug could not only swallow you, but the world as well. At a school like USN, where hugging is a way of life, a Max Barry hug was the best hug of them all. It made you feel safe. It made you feel loved. It made you feel as if, of all the places in the universe, those arms were the place where you were meant to be. And now he's gone. My other Max is gone. Megan and Bruce's one and only Max is gone. On days like today, on occasions such as this one may be tempted to search for meaning in the midst of tragedy. As someone who's devoted his life to the study of literature and philosophy, I have my reservations about such an enterprise. Yet if there's meaning to be gleaned at all, it rests not with the loss, which we must in time accept if we ourselves are to survive, but with the life that preceded it. We must accept that Max's life, in and of itself, was extraordinary. We must acknowledge its richness, its depth, its fulsome audacity. We must recognize that its value rests in its having been at all. By virtue of sheer size, Max's life had its own gravitational pull, its own tidal flow, its own weather, all of which could not help but shape the lives of those who came within range. There is no doubt that he made me a better teacher, a more responsive advisor, a more thoughtful father, and a better human being. For this, and for so much more, I am profoundly grateful. And so we are here as much to celebrate Max's life as to mourn his death. On a day when words can scarcely begin to heal our wounds, I close with a meager offering of a poem. It is one that I can say with some confidence Max had not only read, but loved, for he first encountered it in my classroom over 6 years ago. Not surprisingly, it is a poem about the power and the beauty of nature, and how nature reflects the power and the beauty of the speaker himself. This is by George Gordon, Lord Byron, a man who, like Max, was larger than life. It was written in 1812, and it is entitled Apostrophe to the ocean. Apostrophe to the ocean, George Gordon, Lord Byron. There is a pleasure in the pathless woods. There is a rapture on the lonely shore. There is society where none intrudes, by the deep sea, and music is its roar. I love not man the less, but nature more. From these are interviews in which I steal from all that I may be or have been before to mingle with the universe and feel what I can never express, yet cannot all conceal. Thou glorious mirror, where the Almighty's form glasses itself in tempests, in all time, calm or convulsed, in breeze or gale or storm, icing the pole or in the torrid clime dark heaving, boundless, endless, sublime. The image of eternity, the throne of the invisible, even from out of thy slime the monsters of the deep are made. Each zone obeys thee, thou goest forth, dread, fathomless, alone. And I have loved the ocean, and my joy of youthful sports was on thy breast to be borne like thy bubbles, onward. From a boy I wantoned with thy breakers. They to me were a delight, and if the freshing sea made them a terror, 'twas a pleasing fear. For I was, as it were, a child of thee, and trusted to thy billows far and near, and laid my hand upon thy mane, as I do here. Megan, Bruce, I love you. I love Max. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you all.
Hello. My name is Tom Dotson, and I've been a friend of Max's for life. Today I'm going to read a small reading from The Peace of the Wild Things by Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars, waiting for their light for a time. I rest in the grace of the world, and am free. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Bruce. I love you guys. I love Max very much.
Good morning. This is the call and response part. Good morning. Yeah. Gonna need glasses for this. Everybody here from Nashville knows that when you go to something important, it's always about who the unannounced performer is, right? I'm going to be brief, and I have two things I want to say. And the first of these is about place and community. We're here at the Belcourt Theater, this place, this great room. And yeah, some may have wondered, interesting choice of a place for this. Why the Belcourt? You know, it's not because it's conveniently located, or certainly, as many of you probably learned this morning, not because of its copious unlimited free parking. It's because it's a very important place in this community and in our family and in our neighborhood. It's kind of the perfect place. It's the beating heart, or part of the beating heart, of all that is culturally fantastic about Nashville, which is so relevant for Max, not just because this is a place in our neighborhood where he and us, there's a seat somewhere out there in the middle with his name on it, if I'm not mistaken, and ours as well. But because culture is so significant for him, This is a place where we spent a lot of time together, where Megan forced him to watch It's a Wonderful Life several times, and me as well, although I, of course, would always arrive 30 minutes late because I've always thought it was maybe just a little too long. And the reason I wanted to say this and explain the place, because what this is really about is community. The one thing I've learned in the last couple of days is that this crushing weight of sadness and loss has an incredible emotional counterweight called community. I learned this, I think, about 1,000 times over last night at the Blair School. And as Tommy so perfectly put it, you know, this hole in our hearts, I want to say that this warm embrace from an incredible family and an incredible community and an astounding city, this warm embrace fills that hole in a lot of ways and to a significant extent. The second thing I want to say is about Max. Max. You know, we've been quite open, people have noticed, about the circumstances that bring us here, about what happened last Saturday in Colorado. We think that's important, Megan and I, that people understand about the mistake he made. And we all, of all ages, have made incredible mistakes in our lives, and we almost always walk away from them. And he made one that you don't walk away from. But the point I really want to make here is that the circumstances last Saturday in Denver tell the story of his death and not the story of his life. And the person he really was is not the person that was there on Saturday. And I came here actually all prepared to tell a little bit of that story, but the people who have spoken before me have told it in such an astounding way that I'm going to, what I'm certainly going to do is jettison my adjectives, because I can't outdo the ones we've heard. He was all the things that have been described. And I will add one thing, though. In talking about how much he loved life, which is so true, he loved music so much. He loved comedy, to laugh, to see things that make him laugh. He loved adventure. He also loved breakfast. And I think this is something that we both genetically passed on to him. The power of a great breakfast on a lazy Saturday is you can rule the world with that. There's a cliche, I'm going cliche here, that the journey is the destination. We've all heard that. It can be restated, I suppose, as half the fun is getting there. I think for Max, all the fun was getting there, or most of it. I mean, I think one of the reasons why his friends found his presence and his force and his companionship just so compelling is because the journey was where it was at, and being with him for that. It was never about where we're going. Richard Dinkins talked about his incredible talents and coordination on a playing field. But the other thing about Max on the playing field is that he did not have, and for some people this is probably a flaw, but it is not for him, he didn't really have much of a competitive bone in his body. And if you're going to go out and play, he did play, Richard Dinkins wasn't involved, he did play also small kids soccer for a while, 22 kids in a cloud of dust or whatever. And I noticed the kids who were good at this and who really continue to play are the ones who actually must win and not lose. that wasn't Max. He didn't want to beat the other team. He wanted to meet the other team. And I just think that's just the person, this warm, sensitive, tolerant, there are those adjectives, inquisitive, companionable person. So the people we love and know, spouses and parents and children, we capture each other with sort of moments, right? Frozen moments in time that don't exactly define our relationships, but encapsulate them maybe in a perfect instant. And I just share one very quickly. A few years ago, Megan and Max and I were, I didn't say me like you would. We were in Alaska. We had occasion to go to the Pacific Northwest for a family wedding, and we snuck in a side trip to Alaska. And as part of that, we were on a boat for a few days, cruising around sounds, and it wasn't a ship. There were people going on these cruises in Alaska. This was like a boat with 50 people and a naturalist. It was very groovy. And as part of that, one day there was a sort of a little side trip where we were rafting on a glacial lake. So it's an incredible place. The three of us, and with some other people too. But we're in this astounding, incredible place, stark, cold, even though it was August, and it's one of those places where you just have this, your inner thought is, holy cow, this is amazing. Right? I mean, just like, oh my God. And the thing I want to say about this is it's not that we ever needed to turn to each other and look at each other and say that. It was that we were living this fantastic, breathtaking outdoor moment kind of through each other's eyes, the three of us. And that's the kind of moment where you're not a parent and a child, you're just individuals. You hope you come to know your children, not just as your children, but as individuals, and where you understand each other in this perfect, exquisite way. And that's one of many moments. And what I learned yesterday, meeting so many people over at the Blair School, was that a lot of people, or to use a phrase that is suitable for a movie theater, Max had a co-starring role in a lot of those moments, and I think that, and I learned that from people I didn't even know. It was just astounding, and I just would say that having those moments and keeping them with you, that's, I think, maybe the way to take that hole in your heart and fill it the rest of the way up.
I too am very honored, really privileged to be with you and Bruce, Megan, to be a part of a service that is truly a magnificent tribute to what you two have done as parents. And that is why so many people have come forth in the last 24 hours, the thousands that gathered to visit with you yesterday, indicated not only their sorrow, their compassion, but their love and appreciation for what you two have done. 25 years of tremendous dedication to Vanderbilt University, Bruce. And Megan, you as a first woman mayor, I think most of us who will say it was about time for a woman to be a mayor. And maybe someday even a greater position up there. But you have to be proud. When a minister or a rabbi or a priest comes together to celebrate a funeral, it really makes one feel real good to see so many family and friends who have come together to give thanks to God for the life of one who really knew what it meant to love and to be loved. And that basically fulfills our purpose as God's creation, all of us. Created to love and to be loved. And to hear all the testimonies so far about Max, Megan, you and Bruce can say how grateful, how proud you are to taught him so much what is important in life. And when you come together, family and friends are two of the greatest blessings. As we get older, we come to realize that. Bruce, your mother is here, where Joyce, and what you said earlier, Joyce, they said so many things wonderfully about Max, but you said the one thing that stood out in knowing him was he was so compassionate. And that to me is one of the great compliments that someone can speak about someone. Megan, we have your parents here, Jan and Ken. What an honor for many of us to come to know you and to be able to tell you what great parents you have been in creating the first woman mayor of Music City, USA. You must be proud and grateful, and we're proud of the way you raised her. Grateful for the Lord bringing her and Bruce together and giving her that tremendous power, Bruce, to create a child, to know from the beginning nothing but a little dot creates someone so wonderfully as a child. You have only, I would think, only one regret. We were born to live and to love and to be loved. The only regret I think you should have is he just didn't live long enough. But he did fulfill his purpose of knowing what he was loved, and therefore he was able to reach out to love others. Megan, I think your life has been greatly enriched by three sisters. Where are they? And you came from where? Montana? How about you? Los Angeles? Denver? She got out of safety out of Chicago. That's a tribute not only to you sisters, but to your parents. Because as you get older, family and friends are so important. Bruce, I think you have two brothers here, right? Where are they? And you're from where? North Carolina. And you? New York. What a blessed family all of you have made. An honor to be with you. I think we all feel honored, and Megan, to you in the political world, to have our fine governor, a very, very good governor, Governor Haslam and his wife, and then three men that you have followed in their footsteps, I think. We've been very fortunate to have such strong leadership as mayors to make Nashville always a welcoming city. that every person, regardless of one's color, one's origin, one religion, we're all God's people. To have Philip Bredesen, a mayor, a former governor, his wife, Bill Purcell, his wife, Cardine, hopefully the next governor of Tennessee. That might have been a little bit political. But your predecessors who have done so outstanding as mayors, those are three of the people you're certainly being a great successor. And that's why all these people are here, why all those people came yesterday. You also have cousins and other relatives. We're honored to have all of you. And, but I'd like to just share with you something that maybe gives us hope. I've not lost a son or a daughter, but I've lost 4 wonderful brothers and 2 outstanding sisters and 2 great parents. I believe that the words, "It is in dying that you are born to eternal life." I believe deeply in those words. So I try to find things around where I live and where I go to kind of strengthen that faith. I see it in nature. In the wintertime, everything is death. The trees are barren. The flowers are gone. Everything is pretty well dead. And yet, what a miracle. 3 or 4 or 5 months later, those little stems come out of the ground. Maybe you planted it like I did in the years past. But those little dirty bulbs, 6 inches in the ground, covered with dirt, and then come back in April. I see the stem kind of out of the ground, that delicate stem. In a couple of weeks, it produces that beautiful flower. And I've asked myself more than once, how did that weak, fragile stem come out of that 6 inches of solid dirt? I see the trees that were barren, the beautiful peaches and the apples that are so refreshing. I see the bushes bigger and better, and the trees once again full of foliage. Like the last few days, I would hope all of us could be grateful to God for who we are and where we live, for the wonderful weather we have. I like to look at butterflies in June, July, and August. If they land, I'm going to stop and look at them because I see that butterfly with beautiful, colorful wings, able to go up and down, bounce up and down. They don't fly like a bird. Watch them next time. They go up and down. Where I come from, over in South Nashville, we have a lot of people, Hispanics, great, wonderful people. The reason they say that butterfly goes up and down like it's so happy, it found a picture of margaritas. Made it so joyful and so happy. And you know, butterfly, so many women who have been through the 12-step program of overeaters, drug, alcoholic addiction, many of those women who are now healthy and happy, they wear a piece of jewelry that has a butterfly on it to remind them they're a new person. They're free and happy and loving. But I tell you the thing that amazes me more than anything else. See the birth of a new baby and know that 9 months earlier it was nothing but a dot. And that dot became that beautiful, beautiful, wonderful miracle. I look at those things and it kind of strengthens my hope that one day I'll be with those that you love. Hopefully in the way that Bruce, you and Megan and your family will not only be with Max someday, but with each other. And I hope while you're living, you do everything you can to be worthy of each other and to be there to support each other, like the city of Nashville. Bruce, Megan, you have to be proud, grateful, and humble that the city of Nashville has come out to do that which I consider one of the most beautiful things we do, to be at a funeral that by our presence and by our words, sometimes we feel might be inadequate. That's the thing we do that really makes us God's people. So may his soul, the soul of Max, and all the souls of the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. Amen.
Max Berry was a constant and welcoming presence of the Bryan household for quite a few years. And I know all the adjectives have been used today, but I especially enjoyed Max's humor. It was really good. And when the boys would come down one at a time and raid the icebox and I was still sitting up, Max would come down and whatever conversation we were having, he would always leave to go back upstairs on a humorous note. And he always called me Mr. Prime, which made me feel older than he else. And I'd go, as he was walking back up the stairs to join the other boys, I'd go, Max, you're a funny guy. And I'd hear him as he's going up the stairs, thank you, Mr. Prime. And he's, Max won't just remain a memory at our house. He was part of what my wife likes to call our extended family. And Megan and Bruce, thank you for sharing Max with us. We truly appreciate him and will for years to come. This is a song called Souvenirs. This is for Max Berry. All the snow is turned to water. Christmas days have come and gone. Broken toys and faded colors are all that's left to linger on. I hate graveyards and old pawn shops, for they always bring me tears. I can't forgive the way they robbed me of my childhood souvenirs. Memories, they can't be bought, they can't be won at carnivals for free. Well, it took me years to get those souvenirs, and I don't know how they slipped away from me. Broken hearts and dirty windows make life difficult to say. That's why last night and this morning always look the same to me. And I hate reading old love letters, for they always bring me tears. I can't forgive the way they robbed me of my sweetheart's souvenirs. Memories, they can't be bought, they can't be won at carnivals for free. Well, it took me years to get those souvenirs, and I don't know how they slipped away from me. We love you, Max.